Peloton Cycles is a successful business geared toward the outdoor enthusiast. But while the management team knew the cycle business, they didn't realize they were lacking some of the basic management tools they needed. Armed with a new roadmap for their business, Peloton Cycles is now more confident than ever. They're back on the road to long-term success.
Steve, how do the consultants help you improve your business operations?
First, they gave us a 5-year plan that outlines our growth in a number of areas in terms of sales, expense controls, and then from that, probably on that 5-year plan, what was really good was we never had job descriptions before. We did not have evaluations on a quarterly basis or sometimes even an annual basis for our employees. And then from there, we have developed a compensation plan to augment base salaries, which I believe will help us to achieve those 5-year goals. On the other side, the financial reporting that supports that 5-year plan is going to help us track every aspect of achieving that 5-year plan and putting on the brakes or hitting the gas if we need to take advantage of opportunities before it ever happens.
How do the consultants help you create a productivity-based compensation plan?
Enormously, because first of all, if we follow the plan, and all things being equal in the economy, we're going to have an operating profit from which the incentive plan is derived. For the employees, there's an incentive because they're going to be evaluated on a quarterly basis, and typically in this business, employees are compensated at an hourly rate, which is not very generous. And this offers people an incentive to make more money and see a nice check probably at the end of each quarter as long as the company's doing well. That's the important part about this incentive plan. It doesn't come out of the hide of management by just giving people a percentage of the gross or a percentage of the monthly revenue. It gives them a percentage of operating profits. So when we win, everybody wins, which is great. But it's also tied to their evaluation. It's tied to their longevity, their evaluation, their sales. There's a number of things that contribute to their percentage of the incentive profit pool that's left at the end of each quarter. So it's very unique in the industry, and yet at the same time, I believe for me, I'm going to hopefully see people want to stay here. One of the banes of our existence is we'll just recruit somebody that turns out to be a jewel or just a diamond, and they get lured away by another opportunity in another industry that just happens to pay more than $9 an hour. So this way someone could see that pay increase probably by 30 to 40% on a quarterly basis by doing a good job and being a good team player, because that's part of the evaluation process. So there's a lot of excitement for me to see this type of an incentive plan put into place, and we couldn't have developed this without being sure that we had an operating profit from which to derive the pool.
Steve, how did you benefit from the financial reporting system the consultants put in place for you?
Gave us predictors. It gave us good predictors for purchasing, which are key in this business, is knowing when to purchase, how much you can purchase, and knowing when purchases are going to be available from manufacturers. That's something that's different in our business, I think, than some others, is there are going to be excesses of supply from distributors and manufacturers at certain points of the year where we may want to take advantage of those anticipation buys, and without a cash flow, weekly cash management summary, cash flow forecast for the long term, we wouldn't know if we could take advantage of those discounts that are provided to us by the manufacturers and distributors of parts and bicycles. So the cash flow and the cash management were key to that. The other piece that really became apparent to us, which is just a basic tool in any business, is how do we know when we've covered our expenses? And we now have a break-even analysis that will change year to year, but we know what it is for this year, and we just crossed the threshold actually the other day, and it was great because all of a sudden now we know that our basic expenses have been covered for the year, and now we can focus on profitability. So that is the real key item here that's essential, is having those tools for both controlling expense by knowing how much money we have to pay our payables, as well as take advantage of buys, and also to know that we're going to have some money left at the end of the year instead of having a nonprofit.
How do the consultants help you meet the challenges of doing business in a recession and get ready for the upswing in the economy?
Very importantly, in a recession, we don't really know always when people are going to come in and how much they're going to spend. We can track that long term, but again, Monday morning quarterbacking doesn't do you very much good when you're looking to the future. The cash flow projection that we have allows us to do two things. It allows us to decide what we're going to buy and when we're going to buy it and how much of we're going to buy in terms of inventory. And then also on the other side, it allows us to take a look at anticipation buys when there are opportunities to buy large amounts of material at a substantial discount that we could even afford to keep for a while before we sell because the price was so low. So recessionary business strategy right now is, I've always believed that when you're ambushed, you should attack. So in a recession, I'm not going to just sit back and just take it and give away the store. We have to be conscious that people are looking for a deal more than they ever were. But so part of it is having those tools to tell me how much margin do I have to give up in order to sell enough to make this business profitable, but not get a position going here where people go, oh, well, they just give everything away over there, so that we get ready for the upswing. In the upswing, we don't want to be known as the bargain basement of bicycles. So without those tools, those business metric tools of cash flow, cash management, looking at our budget to date, looking at break even, looking at all the tools that were developed for us, we'd have no way to do this. We'd have no way to operate efficiently in a recession, and we are moving into an upswing. We've seen that in the last year. We are getting better.
Steve, what would you say to a business owner who's considering using our analytical and consulting services to improve his business?
I'd ask him the following questions, probably 5 questions. I'd say, okay, what's your 5-year plan? Do you have one? 2, I'd say, do you have an idea of how much operating profit you have at the end of each year? Do you know when you break even at any point in terms of weekly, monthly, what you have to achieve per sales to break even? And then I'd ask him, I said, what's your payables? I mean, are you staying current with your payables? I would recommend that you would look at this, because it's almost like you can't afford not to do it, because the money that you would spend to do this is inconsequential based on what you're going to save or what you're going to be able to achieve on the revenue side, because they're going to take you through a process over the period of time of the engagement. You're going to become hyper aware of how critical these metrics are for the success of your business.
Steve, describe to me what your business was like before you brought in our team of business experts and how it has changed for the better today.
Immeasurable, actually. Well, actually it is measurable, because before we couldn't measure it. Now we can, because before we used to manage guesses. Now we manage information. That is pretty dramatic, actually. We used to make a lot of good guesses because the growth of the business has been dramatic. It's been very good. It's been almost exponential in the last couple of years. But we never could really be sure, because how could we say that we gotten to where we wanted to go if we never knew where we wanted to go? Now we have information that says this is where we want to go, this is how we're going to get there, this is how we're going to measure success once we do get there. So I would say that's a no-brainer. It's night and day.
Robin, describe to me what your business was like before you brought in our team of experts and how it has changed for the better today.
It's allowed me to take all the information that I gather every single day and just put it on piles on my desk and actually relate that to actually what's going to be positive for my business or what's going to be negative for my business. So obviously allowing me to take a look at that in a whole different light that I've never looked at before had given me the confidence to continue forward and maybe take some time off, or also pass that responsibility on to some of my other employees, and also enabled me to pass that information on in a way that made it so that they felt comfortable with it, and also could actually change it as far as they were concerned too, and maybe even come up with a better idea yet. So allowing all that to go, allow the business to go straight forward, and we all have that same goal and know what our jobs are, and also where we want to be in 5 years, which we never really had that before. Like I said, allowing all that information to be in front of me at all times allowed my comfort level to be a lot higher to leave and enjoy my life sometimes too.